Hi everyone, this is Lee here from Excel Simplified. This is my fourth video and I just realized I have not done a video on Introduction to Microsoft Excel for Beginners. Hence today, this video is a beginner's guide on Excel. If you are new to using Excel in your office work, then this is the video for you. I'm going to show you the basic layout, ways to input and format your data, and how to get your data ready for printing. As this is for beginner, if you're looking for things like formula functions, VLOOKUP, pivot table, etc., please click on my other video links that I put in the description below. Let's start now and I'll open up my Microsoft Excel. I'm using Microsoft 2016 here and I use Microsoft 365 at work. But I don't see much difference between the two versions. Therefore, this tutorial will still be helpful to you regardless you are using which version. This is the layout we will see when we open up Excel. Over here, you will have a list of Excel documents you have recently accessed in this computer, with your most recent one on top. However, if you have a favorite file that you want to constantly see at the top of this list, you can click on the file and select the pin symbol over here. Immediately, you will see that the file test3 is already pinned to the top. You can access file on other folders by clicking on Open Other Workbooks, and you will come to this interface. You can click Browse to get to the folder containing the file that you want. I'm going to go ahead and open the workbook that I prepared. This is the standard layout. This part in green here are what we call tabs. Under these tabs, there are different subunits called ribbons. And each ribbons has a group of functions. You'll notice that there are some tiny little arrows at the corner. This means that this particular group has more functions than what was shown here, but due to the space constraint, it wasn't shown. If you click on this group will expand into a pop-up window with more options. In this example, since I click on the tiny arrow at the font ribbon, it gives me the option in regards to font formatting. We go to the bottom of the workbook. You will see what we call worksheet, which is like a page for your workbook. I can click on the plus sign over here to add more worksheet, or I can right click, insert additional worksheet, click OK. Now you see that I have additional worksheets down here. Or we can delete a worksheet again by right click on it and select delete. We can also rename a worksheet. So I'm going to rename this sheet 3 to Introduction. Now it's been renamed. I can even change the color of different worksheet. I'm going to change this worksheet tab color to blue. Now you see that this Introduction has been changed to blue color. Right click again and you see there's a move or copy function. This allows us to rearrange the sequence of worksheet. I also have the option to create another copy of the worksheet by clicking on Create a Copy. Now you see that this worksheet introduction has been copied to here. On top of that, you can copy or move the worksheet to another totally different workbook. I'm going to right click on this, again move or copy, and from move selected sheets to book, and we will select where should we move this worksheet to. I'm going to select another file which is called Other Excel. Click OK. And now you see that this worksheet has disappeared from my workbook. Instead, it has been moved to the workbook called Other Excel. Now we close this workbook. Going back to the main part of Microsoft Excel, this part where I highlighted is called column, which we refer by alphabets. And this part is called row, referred in a numerical way. These individual boxes are called cell. Now, how do we reference a cell? We do this by saying the column position followed by its row position. In this example, this cell is D6 because it is in column D and row 6. Think movie theater setting and you will get the concept. The cell reference can also be seen at the left corner over here. We can also select a bunch of cells and we call this a range. And this long white strip over here is called formula bar. It's a place where we type in whatever we want to appear in the selected cell. In this case, you see that I have selected the cell D2. And I'm going to type in some text, happy day. And you see that automatically the word happy day is shown in cell D2. We can also type directly in the cell and it will show up at the formula bar over here. Now let's try to enter some data and I will show some options to formatting. And before this, we can make this worksheet looks larger by increasing the percentage at the bottom right here. I'm going to increase this to 130%. I'm going to key in the album sales for my favorite K-pop group Infinite. First column, it will be the album name. We can use the tab key on your keyboard to move to the right. To move to the left, that will be hold shift and tab. To move down, use enter. To move up will be shift enter. Alternately, you can just use the arrow keys up, down, left and right on your keyboard to move between the cells. I will input release year, release date, and sales volume too. As you can see, the album name, release year, release date, sales volume are not showing fully because the columns are not wide enough for them. You can put your cursor over here to the column side until it shows a symbol like this, a cross with arrowhead to the sides. Click and drag the column to the width you want. Alternately, you can just put your cursor over here and double click. And the column will auto adjust to fit everything nicely. I'm going to do this for the other two columns. So now they fit nicely in the columns. If we wish to edit this cell's content, I'll have to double click on the cell and it will put the cursor inside the text so I can edit without deleting the original text. Another way is to click on the cell. I'll click B1 and click at the formula bar over here. Edit directly. There's a third way, which is by simply selecting the cell, C1, and press F2 on your keyboard. We can format this text by choosing the font type and font size we want. using the ribbon font. Select the whole rows and we can format everything together. So I'm going to change the font type and make the font slightly larger to 14. As you can see, because the font gets larger, it didn't fit in the column again. So I can choose all the column, move my cursor over here or here, double click, and it will auto adjust again. I also want to fill the columns with color, so I will select by clicking on the first cell until the last cell. And I'm going to choose the color from here. By default, you will be presented with these color templates. But if you don't like any of these, you can click on more colors. So I'm going to choose blue, this shade of blue, and click OK. However, if you still dislike the color option over here, you can go to Custom. This is where you can choose the color, the shades you want, and even the RGB combination. Now, most people won't spend so much time on choosing colors for the data cell unless your company has a policy that you must use certain color for business presentation. The company where I work actually has such policy, and we were given the RGB numbers to input over here. To remove the fill color, go back to this fill section and select no fill. I already have a worksheet with fill data over here. As you can see, they are not looking very tidy and require some formatting. Remember, if you double click over here, the column will adjust its width to fit in the text. But I don't want Excel to do this. I'm going to choose the column and click on Wrap Text. As you can see, the row height will readjust to fit in everything instead. This makes more sense, especially if the text is very long and you don't want a super wide column. I can also adjust the alignment of the content. As you can see, this 2012, the date, and this sales number, they are closer to the bottom of the border. I prefer them to float in the middle of the cell. So I'm going to click on this corner over here between A and 1. This will allow us to select every cell in the worksheet. And over here are the alignment settings. So I'm going to choose to let it float in the middle. Immediately, this part has been moved up. Also, I may prefer to have the release year to be in the middle of the column. So I'm going to highlight column B and choose the alignment center. This looks tidier. As for the number, I will add the 1000 separator. Select the column and click on this symbol that looks like a comma. Notice that it will automatically come along with 2 decimal points. In fact, these numbers, after the 2 decimal points added on, they become too long and they no longer fit in column D nicely. We can either readjust the column by double clicking, but I don't want the 2 decimal points anyway, so I'm going to reduce it by using the 2 icons over here. This is for increased decimal and this is for decreased decimal. If you want to have currency symbols shown or numbers, you can right click on it, select Format Cells, go to Number, and choose Accounting. And over here there's a long list to Now I would like to add ranking for the albums with the bestsellers on top And I'll do this by using the sort function. Remember to highlight all the columns before doing any sorting to avoid situation where only the sales volume will be sorted, but the album names, years, and everything did not move. You'll get an incorrect data representation. So after we highlight, we go to Data and Sort. Most of the time, Excel will automatically detect that your data has readers. You will know this if this section is ticked. This means it will sort everything but not the header. The header will remain in place. So I'm going to sort by sales, value, largest to smallest. Okay. Now we know that this album is the bestseller for Infinite Group. With the sales volume sorted, I'm going to insert a column for rank. So I'm going to click on this column A, right click, select Insert, and there we have additional column over here. Type 1, enter, 2, here I'm going to show you how you don't have to type 1, 2, 3 all the way until the end of the data. So I just type 1 in the first cell and 2 in the second cell, highlight both, and put my cursor at the corner until I see the plus sign. Double click on it and it will auto-populate the numbers at below. If I only type 1 over here, and straight away, using the plus sign and double click, Excel will misunderstand that I just want to fill all the cells below with the number 1. By putting a 2 in second cell, Excel will detect that I actually want a sequence of number to be filled below. I'm going to do this again. 1, 2, double click and autofill. Now we have the ranking and I prefer the number to be in the middle of the cell instead of leaning to the right. So going back to Home and click on Center. Now we are going to talk about filtering. Go to Data, click Filter, and automatically you will get this symbol on each of the column header. You can sort based on your criteria and the data will be just showing rows that fit your criteria. For example, I would like to look at albums released in the year of 2011 only. So I will do this by going to the column Release Year, untick everything, select 2011, click OK. Now we know that these are the albums that were released in 2011. To undo the filtering, go back to Sort and Filter and click on this icon Clear. If you don't need the filtering, we can click on the filter again and the symbol will be gone. I'm going to insert a row above this row 1 by highlighting the row, right click and select Insert. I'm going to type in the title over here called K-pop Infinite Album Sales. And I want the font to be bigger than the rest. So I'm going to put my cursor here, Home, and at the font area, I am going to choose font size 20 and make it bold. The title will look better if it's in the center above the data. To do this, I will have to break the barrier of these cells from A1 to E1. How do I do this is by highlighting these cells and click on Merge and Center. Now the data title, K-pop Infinite Album Sales, rests right in the middle on top of the data. Now I'm going to tidy up the data a bit by giving it borders. So I'm going to select the range and go to borders over here. There's many options to be selected. Another way is to, after selecting the range, right-click, go to Format Cells, and select Border. We can even play around with the color of the borders. So I'm going to go with a simple table shape. And for the header, I'm going to make them center, bold, and have few colors, which I'm going to choose green. You'll notice that when I scroll down, the title and the headers have gone up all together and hidden from the view. We can avoid this by freezing the title and the header by using Freeze Pane. To do that, we need to highlight the row below the header, go to View tab, and click on Freeze Pane. Select Freeze Pane. Now when I scroll down, you can see that the title and the header won't move. That's it for formatting. I'm just going to tidy up a little bit. Now I'll go through how to print an Excel file without issue. When we want to print, go to the File tab and select Print. From here you will see all the printing options. On the right hand side is the print preview. Basically it is how the data will look when printed. As you can see, the table had overflowed to the next page and it is not nice. So I'm going to go back and reset. Click on Back. As my data can easily fit in one page, I will set it to print everything on the same page. I'm going to go to Page Layout, expand the page setup, and I'm going to select Fit to one page wide by one tall. And while I'm at it, and maybe instead of being printed in portrait format, I may choose landscape instead. Click OK. Go to Print again. And the print preview now looks much better. At the printer section here, you can choose the printer you want to use. Other than printing on paper, you can opt for transforming the file into PDF format by choosing PDF printers like Microsoft Print to PDF or Foxit Phantom PDF printer. However, nowadays Microsoft Excel allows us to save workbook in many different formats, including PDF. You can go to Save As and select the option PDF from here. We are going to go back. I have another worksheet over here which has even more rows than the previous one. This obviously cannot be printed on just one page. I need to print this in multiple pages and need to adjust the worksheet accordingly so the printed report will make sense. Go to View tab and click on Page Break Preview. If it's too small, you can readjust by zooming in again. Now the screen shows how your data and table is going to look like on each pages of paper. In this case, we go to print preview, print, and you can see first page is still okay. But when we go to second, third, and fourth, this doesn't make sense. So I will adjust the page break over here. This is the page break. These two. So I'm going to click on this and drag until the end of column D. Move the page 2 slightly above. Now this data will be printed in 2 pages. We're going to preview again. You will notice that from page 2 onwards, the header and the title were gone. To counter this, we go back to page layout again. Expand the page setup. This time we go to the tab Sheet. And over here, we can tell the printer what rows to be repeated at top. Click on this symbol. And we go to the data. We highlight the title and the header. Expand again by clicking back on the symbol. Click OK. Sometimes after we adjust the page setup, the page break will go haywire again. So I will just readjust it again. And also we can add on header or footer for the printing. So we go back to page setup, go to header and footer. So maybe I prefer to have the page number at the foot of each pages. Maybe page 1 of 2. Click OK. Now the page number won't be shown here. We go to print again. And when we look at this print preview, you'll notice that now it has page number, page 1 of 2. Scroll down again to the second page and you notice that the data title and the headers are all intact. Now the print preview looks presentable and neat. I think that's all I have to cover on introduction to using Microsoft Excel. Hopefully this video is helpful to you as an entry level to Microsoft Excel. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up below and click on subscribe if you would like to see more videos on Microsoft Excel tutorial. I'll see you next time.